there, welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on my video. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Today I'm doing this eyeshadow look with these two palettes, and I decided to do a bit of a DIY at-home graphic liner sort of thing. So if you want to see that struggle bus, it's at the end of the video. If you're new here, hey, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I really enjoy eyeshadow, and I do upload several videos every week. I'm very excited today to be playing with the Envy palette from Ace Beauté. If you don't know, I had my eye on this palette for so long. I owned the Oceanic palette from the brand, and I thought it was the perfect blue-green color story. Executed so well. It had variety, it had depth, it had contrast. It was beautiful. But I had it in the old formula, and eventually I sold it, thinking that maybe I would get it at some point in the new formula, and then Ace Beauté released this palette. I think that this palette is not only prettier packaging, but also a little bit more curated. It's a bit more pared down, and it's absolutely smashing. It's so beautiful. Also, this is the new formula. So when this was launched, I really wanted it, and I went back and forth and talked myself out of it, talked myself back in. Finally, I got it secondhand. I got this and its sister, the Aura palette. I have both of them, and they're both beautiful. So today I want to do a blue-green look, color me shocked, but I also have my palette pull-in, and according to my notes, I have done up through shade number 14, so now I'm on to 15. Here's the palette I'm working through, Paradise Islands from Nomad Cosmetics, and this is shade number 15. It's called Dolphin, and I'm going to start with that color, I think, and then build the rest of the look using the Envy palette. I've already primed my eyes using the Glamlight Icing Primer. Everything I'm using is mentioned, or if possible, linked down below in the description box. So let's dive right into the Dolphin shade. This is a Blend Bunny B3 brush. I think I want to lay this at my inner crease area, and then I'm thinking I'm going to do a blue crease, you know, this light Dolphin shade into the deeper blues of the Envy palette, and then maybe pull some greens onto the lid. You can't really go wrong with blue and green. They're always going to be beautiful together, so it's not much of a risk. It's just a matter of doing it well. Same brush now into the shade Crave, and I'm going to use this in the rest of my crease. I texted my husband the other day. I was feeling a little bit buried in, I think mainly housework. I had seen a video on a friend's Instagram page. She and her husband just moved. They have their little boy, and she shared a picture of him playing in their new living room. And when I looked in the background of her living room, her home just seemed so put together and comfortable. I started feeling kind of bad about my own home. I wasn't really beating myself up too much, but I did feel like I'm a little bit embarrassed when people come over because my home is not as good as it could be. I mean, it's very clear that there are 5 people who live here, and it's a small townhome. So we're a little limited on space, I could say, in a very first world sense. I don't know. I started comparing myself to someone else, and that is both a beneficial thing, but also a detrimental thing. Let me tell you what I mean. It can be very helpful to compare ourselves to others when we are using that as the fire or the inspiration or the motivation to improve ourselves. That is when it's a very useful thing to say, I want to be a better artist, so I'm going to find artists who are at a level that I would like to achieve, and I am following them. I'm getting inspiration and techniques and tips and tricks from them, and because I'm exposing myself to that caliber of artistry, I am naturally going to get better in my own work, assuming that you practice well. You know, if you want to be better at cooking, you find people who cook well and you learn from them. You might watch competition shows and listen to the little things that they say. Surround yourself with people who also have that goal, because they're going to keep you accountable. They're going to inspire you on the daily, in the here and now. They're going to help you. They're going to encourage you. That's really important, more so than just making the decision, because, again, personal experience, if you make the decision and have no one helping you to back it up, it is so easy to let it go and then be annoyed with yourself even more and put yourself further down. But if your goal was to get strong and healthy and fit, and you join a gym, you're going to make new friends in that arena with a common mind or a common goal, and it's just going to be so much more accessible, so much more attainable and maintainable, because that's your new network, you know? And that is a good reason to compare yourself to other people. I'm using my palette pull-in again with a smaller and fluffy blending brush, and I'm just putting it on the edges. I want to soften this deep blue a bit. There are times when it is absolutely not helpful or healthy to compare ourselves to others. And those are the times when we use that information to decide how we measure up and then put ourselves down. This is a trap which I sink into myself, where I find somebody who's just doing one thing better and I start putting myself down about that thing. I do it all the time. I think women especially tend to compare more than men do. It's just a really unhealthy habit. So looking at my friend's home, I started thinking bad about my own home and the job that I was doing in my home. And my husband said something that was so helpful, encouraging, and really brought me back down to where usually I am. I'm very goal-oriented, and I feel that encouragement is something I do well, but then I still find myself talking bad to myself in my own head. And he said, do your best, seek to improve. And I loved how he phrased it. It was so succinct, so put together, just this very quick, easy phrase, easy to remember. It was invigorating for me because my best is not perfection, so I can't expect perfection of myself. That's not realistic. Hang on, let me move to the next step because I'm talking more than I'm doing, and this eye look doesn't need to be blended anymore. With this flat brush, I'm picking up the shade Vibes, and I'm gonna spray it because I just want it to, does it need to be sprayed? You know what, let's try it dry and see how it goes. I'm gonna put Vibes on my inner lid space. So I'm not exactly sure where I was, but I feel that generally I'm a positive person and I do well encouraging others, and I needed that quick little do your best, seek to improve phrase because I am trying. I'm not amazing, I'm not perfect, I'm not Martha Stewart, but I'm trying, and my home is, if a bit cluttered because a bunch of people live here and maybe we do have too much stuff, it's also comfortable, and overall it's tidy, and overall it's inviting, and there are certainly days where I don't do as well, but when I kind of get my butt in gear and I clean up the house, it's fine. It was encouraging to have him validate me that you're doing a pretty good job. Earlier in that text, he said, I'm not ashamed of our home. And that was helpful for my heart, that these feelings were really just in my own head, and he wasn't ashamed to bring people over. That was good for me to hear. This is such a pretty color. I just want it everywhere. I'm going to drag it over a little bit more because it's gorgeous, and then with the same brush I will grab the dark blue shimmer. It's called Dominate. Same thing, I'm now putting it over here. I was really grateful to him for saying that because I needed to hear it, and it also kind of grounded me again that there's always room for improvement. None of us is perfect. None of us have everything figured out or lined up, and you guys saw my video recently where I had revamped my bedroom. That experience made that space more enjoyable. But there are other spaces in the house that could perhaps benefit from being reworked a little bit. And I just got a bit inspired again and felt comforted by his encouragement and his words. And not just comforted, but motivated to do my best and yet still seek to improve. I'm going to line my entire lower lash line with that dolphin shade from my palette Pull-In. And then after I put this down, I'm going to deepen it. But I want this as a nice, bright foundation shade because it's really pretty and it's working beautifully with all of these colors. And I'm kind of experimenting to see if I prefer to put shimmer on top of just the primed skin or if I prefer to put it on top of a matte. So I'm laying this down as a foundation. Now with a flat brush, I'm going to go, what should I do? Actually, that's looking beautiful with my necklace, isn't it? That's really pretty. That's really pretty. I think I'm going to grab a smudger brush, actually. I'll go back into Crave and just do this outer lower lash corner a little bit. Then I will go into a small flat brush and pick up Dominate again on the edge of the brush and put that over here. Now on this same small brush, I'll go back into Vibes, the green shimmer, and lay that on the center of the lower lash line. I think I'll spray this one. I'm getting a little bit of fallout in my eye, and because it's such a small space, I do want to control where it lands so I don't get a lot of fallout on the rest of my face. So will load up my little brush with Vibes and then spray it. So let's try this now. Put Vibes here. That's better. Only in the center area because there's one more color I want to use. And I will put that on, I think, with a much smaller brush. This one right here, because this is also going to be my inner corner highlight. Yeah, I'm picking up the shade Phantasm and I will spray it. So Phantasm I'll lay down as an inner corner highlight and then drag it on the lower lash line until we meet that pretty green. Beautiful. Oh, it's so striking. And whatever's left on the brush, I think I'll hit as a brow bone highlight. That's beautiful. I'm going to go off camera and do the other side. I'll be right back. Ordinarily, I would just put on some mascara and be done. I'll tell you at the end what I did for my waterline and whatnot. But I actually want to try something out, and I want to try it out on camera. You guys may remember that I wanted to try graphic liner, and I've mentioned a few times lately that I really wish I had a colorful liner that I could do like a bright wing. What I recently learned was that you can use eyeshadow as eyeliner. So I have this palette from BH Cosmetics. This is Lost in Los Angeles. This shade's broken, and I rarely use this palette because I just don't tend towards these shades. So I've decided that I want to try to use these colors as eyeliner because I don't really mind if the palette gets ruined. So there are a few ways that you could do it. You could mix your shadow with water, with setting spray, or you can mix it with micellar water. So I've got this very small paintbrush. I just grabbed this off Amazon, I think. And I'm going to get it wet with the micellar water. And then I'm going to drag this through the shadow that I want to use as a wing, which in today's video, I'm going to try to use this one here, LAX, as a wing. So I'm staying to an upper corner of the pan. You guys can see I'm just doing this in the upper corner because that leaves the rest of the pan to still be used as eyeshadow. Like that part of the pan's not messed up. This is the second time I'm trying this. My brush is not really holding a tight group. I'm completely winging this and I may mess up the eye look entirely, but I really want to try it out. So I think a safe thing to do would be to start with lining the upper lashes. And then if it's working okay, then I might try to do a little bit of a wing. So let's try this. Alright, so first impressions, it goes on pretty smoothly. Again, my brush is not super precise, so it's flaring out probably more than it ought to. It's okay. I think it could be worse, so I'm going to try to do a wing. The liner palette that I want is called the Split It liners from Artitude Cosmetics. It's a water-activated liner, and they have really, really beautiful colors, and it's highly recommended to me. So I would really like to get that. Maybe Black Friday. We'll see. Okay, so this needs to dry. I put a little bit too much moisture, and what that did was it made it a bit runny, so it actually seeped into my crease a little bit. That's okay. It did a decent job of making a wing. It is pretty thin. That could also be because I added too much water. It doesn't seem to be removing the makeup underneath. Really, the biggest thing with this is A, to find out if I enjoy colored eyeliner or graphic liner, and B, to see if this solution scratches the itch, if it works well enough that I can not want to buy a proper liner palette. That's what this experiment is all about. I mean, it doesn't look great because I'm not great at doing eyeliner. I don't have a terribly precise tip here, and I'm working with a product that's not designed for this. But all that aside, I think overall it doesn't look bad. I do feel like it might be burning my eyes a little bit. I'm getting a slight burning sensation when I line the upper lashes, not at the wing. And so I think perhaps the micellar water is irritating the eye a little bit. One of my wings, per usual, is different. They don't match. They never match. I won't necessarily say better than the other because I think they're both kind of crappy, honestly. I think I like having that color. I need to do wings better to make it really impactful. All this has told me is that I probably do want to get the proper palette, like the actual cake liner palette because I think it'd be fun to do this sort of thing, but I want better results, and I'm going to get better results by having the right tool for the job. Let me put on mascara and close out this video. Hey guys, here's everything after I put on mascara and a little bit of face product. Let me tell you what I did. As usual, I have this shade Big Splash from ColourPop's Creme Gel Liners in my waterline, and on my lips I'm wearing the NYX This Is Milky Gloss in the shade Mint Choco Chip. Then on my face I only used this from ColourPop. This is their Matchmaker blush from the Mulan collection. I've decided to keep it as more of a cool tone contour sort of thing, so I just put that in my the cheeks area, and that is everything. Mascara on my eyes, nothing else except for concealer and powder on my face. Everything is linked below. I would love to know what you think about the eye look itself, and then do you have any thoughts about the graphic liner attempt? I think that I like what it brings as far as color. I would say the performance is not what I want because it's not really designed to be a graphic liner. It is eyeshadow. So it's powder that I'm trying to turn into a liner, and it worked okay. I know Duraline does the same thing. Like, it's just, they're mixing mediums, you know? Since I didn't have them, I used micellar water. Same concept, perhaps Duraline works better, but overall, the final performance of the product with the micellar water was that it's a little bit sheer. You know, I'm pretty sure that if I were to try to do a much lighter color, you'd be able to see the shadow underneath. So I am interested still in getting a cake liner palette where I have all of the colors I could possibly want. I just need to activate the one, and after a little bit of trial and error, I get the right consistency and put on an opaque, crisp liner with the right tools. That's what I am interested in. So I don't know. We'll see what Black Friday brings. Right now, I'm kind of on a no buy. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'd love to know your thoughts as well about the concept of doing your best but seeking to improve. This goes for everything in our lives, not just housekeeping or physical fitness or whatever, but it goes as far as learning new hobbies, maintaining and building friendships and relationships, your workplace, larger projects in your life. It's just overall, this is how we can become more well-rounded, well-adjusted, and balanced people, and I think that is a noble goal. I appreciate you being here with me today. I hope you will consider liking and subscribing before you go. I do upload several videos every week, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!